Ready? Are you ready, Chris? All right, it is 7 o'clock. And my name is Paul Porter. I am the current chairman of the Linn County Planning and Zoning Committee, and I am calling this meeting to order this evening. Going to start out with some quick introductions since we don't have our name placards and we're not always, you having trouble hearing me? Okay, how about that? All right, we'll begin again. My name is Paul Porter. I am the current chairman of the Linn County Planning and Zoning Committee, and we are going to start this public hearing regarding Article 14 of our solar regulations. And I would like to start out with some introductions since we don't have our nameplates and we don't normally appear in public like this. But with me this evening is Elizabeth Staten, Charlene Sims, Morgan Brown, Eddie Anderson, Job Ori, and Daniel Ernest. And missing this evening is David Fisher and Richard Morrell, who are the rest of our members of the Planning and Zoning Committee. This is a regular meeting, so to speak. It is a public hearing, but it is an official meeting. As far as an agenda, there will be no motions or other activity or any action except for the public hearing part of this. The whole entire purpose of this meeting is to hear from you. And if you submitted a written response on these issues, we have them, and we will review them offline. But rest assured that we do have all the emails and form submissions and all those things that were sent to Darren. And I also wanted to just remind you of where we are in this process. So a couple of months ago at our regular meeting, it was motioned, seconded, and passed with a vote to change or amend our current solar regulations to effectively ban commercial and utility solar regulations or solar operations. I'm just going to read. There's a copy on the back, on the stand on the back, but I'm going to read the pertinent sections. Section 14-401, the proposal is for it to read all SECS other than domestic SECS, which SECS is solar energy conversion system. All SECS other than domestic SECS allowed as necessary uses in accordance with this article are prohibited within the unincorporated area of Linn County. The other section 14-402 is the more pertinent change. And the county has determined that non-domestic SECS are incompatible with protection and enhancement of the rural character of the county. Further limiting SECS to domestic SECS is consistent with the goals and objectives of preserving agricultural lands and the natural resources of the county, including environmentally sensitive areas as stated in the 2022 Linn County Comprehensive Plan. The 2022 plan further sets the objective of minimizing adverse effects of intrusive developments and land use. The county finds that non-domestic SECS would create such adverse effects of intrusive development due largely to the characteristics inherent to solar farms, specifically the extreme land use. Now, this is the proposed change, leaving all the domestic regulations in place that currently exist. So that was voted on and passed a couple months ago. The next step in the process is this hearing tonight. The purpose of this hearing is to hear from you. We are your audience, and you all will do the talking. Our primary job is just to listen and get feedback from you regarding these specific changes. After this meeting, the second Tuesday in August, Planning and Zoning will have their regular meeting at the regular time where we will discuss this hearing, discuss these changes, and discuss findings. And as you know, I'm not able to predict the future yet. So assuming that nothing else happens in that meeting, we will hopefully, at least be addressing these issues. What I'm trying to tell you is that's the next step in the meeting. After this is for us to discuss the hearing, and findings is the next bit of homework for us. And then after those are all approved by planning and zoning, then that will, as a package, be presented to the Board of County Commissioners as our recommendation for any changes in the solar regulations. So I just wanted everybody to understand where we're at in the process, what happens next, and what the milestones are. For tonight, some ground rules. If you were at our last public forum, it will be very similar, although the order will be a little different. We will have the proponents of the regulation change. To put it in the vernacular, that would be the opponents of the solar. But the proponents, the people who are for the change, will go first. And everyone will have 2 minutes. And the microphone will turn off at 2 minutes, and there will be a buzzer or a noise of some sort. Please respect the time so that we can get everybody through and hear everyone's opinion. After the proponents of the regulation change, the opponents of the regulation change will come, and the rules of the game will be the same. And then, but after each group, the Planning and Zoning Committee, if they have questions for a particular presenter in that group, we will direct those questions to that person. Other than those questions coming from us, there will not be dialogue, discussion, debate. We're only here to hear from you. So I hope all that's clear. Did I leave anything out? And at the end, we can, catch anything that we missed. So looking at my list. Yes. As we begin speaking, please line up here on the ramp and have one person at a time, obviously, at the microphone. And, this is important, sorry. Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. That's just important for us to understand who's here and who they're representing. So that's it for me. So if we could begin just queuing up over here, and it will be the proponents who are for the regulation change going first. Come on down and we'll get started.
My name is Allison Hamilton. I live on Yancey Road, where the proposed commercial solar project will surround my home on all 4 sides. Over 6,000 acres of agricultural land has been leased and recorded at the Register of Deeds office in Linn County dating back to 2019. This proposed section is located in the northeast corner of Linn, bordering over 15,000 acres of wildlife habitat operated by both the state of Kansas Wildlife and Parks and the Federal Wildlife Refuge. This area is unique to Kansas, providing habitats in hardwood forests, wetlands, and prairie, combined to showcase diversity in plants and animals. There are many factors leading up to this type of large-scale commercial solar development. The increased amount of electrical lines, poles, substations, digging holes, pouring concrete into thousands of acres to set an actual panel in the ground, to just name a few. The installation process alone is detrimental to the land, not to mention an act of God destroying the entire project. In fact, there are real environmental consequences with this new quote-unquote green energy initiative that for some reason, even in rural Linn County, America, we seem to be ignoring. Green energy means a less reliable grid and failures. It means BlackRock and big government taking your land It means foreign-owned companies and few documents away from eminent domain to take your land forever. It means inefficient and expensive, brought to you by the people that hate us. It means the rich get richer while we get a lecture on climate change. Commercial solar is not affixed to any load on the grid, and on its best sunny days, it will only produce 20% efficiency. Adding commercial solar to our community will not provide any sort of decrease on your electric bill nor your property tax for a minimum of 10 years. The amount of actual tax dollars after the 10-year abatement is still unknown. These foreign-owned companies have been working to secure land grabs for years before most citizens in our county understood what commercial solar.
If someone could please close that back door, I love our sunsets, but not.
My name's Jason Cahill. I live at 17103 Wakefield Road. I'm like Allison, it's going to surround me all the way around. I got dogs and horses and animals out there, guys. I get on my horse every night, and I train horses for a living, and that's what I do at evening time. I get to watch the animals roam around the sunset, like you were just talking about, how good they are in our county. I don't want to look over some solar panels. The animals are going to be gone. It's not going to help none of us. Y'all know it ain't. You're giving them the foot in right now, just like she said. China, BlackRock, all them big companies, they're part of it, and they're coming for these big land grabs, and they're going to get it as long as people like us back down and give it to them. But the day we stand up and give it to them the other way, from the other end, and tell them to go on back to California where they come from, because we don't need that shit here, that's what we really need to do as people. If you care about your place and your kids and the area they grow up in, and you want Linn County to stay like this, you better stand up now. That's all I know.
Hello, I'm Scott Woods, and I'm a current resident of Linn County and have been since 1997. My position on Article 14 is that I support a ban on large-scale industrial solar farms as they are not consistent with our county's comprehensive plan. I would like to thank the Planning and Zoning Committee for all the hard work and due diligence they've put into Article 14 over the last several months, and especially thank those committee members who voted in favor of the solar prohibition. I would ask that those committee members who voted in favor of the ban please stay committed and not be swayed by a recent outside pro-solar organization that sent out mass text messages to Linn County residents trying to stir up landowner rights. As a landowner myself, I think it is absolutely necessary to have regulations to preserve and protect our natural resources, such as prime farm ground, wildlife refuges, water quality, and property values. To our county commissioners, who I'm sure are listening, it's time for you to do what you were elected to do. Put your personal feelings aside, listen to the overwhelming majority of Linn County citizens and the Planning and Zoning Committee members who supported prohibition on Article 14 and approved the ban. Let's make Linn County a place where families want to move to and buy a piece of ground without having to worry about being surrounded by solar panels someday, like some of our residents who face that possibility if solar is approved. Thank you.
I'm Cody Phillips. I've been a resident here for my entire life, and I didn't see this in advance, so I spent a day and a half writing a speech about it, and honestly, you guys did the right thing. Thank you for this, those of you that put this in place. This is exactly what we need, and I don't know if anybody else is kind of in my same position of having thoughts that you were going to say and then reading this and going, I don't have anything to say now. But last time we did a whole everybody stand up thing that is for the prohibition. Can we do that again? If you are for the prohibition, go ahead and stand up. If you support what they did, I think that says it all right there. And thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Eric Thies. I live in Pleasanton. Been here since 2004. I've always understood that the land around us will be farmed, which we support. Never really paid attention to what was going on in the county or at the annex building. until about a year ago when we found out they were bringing in commercial solar farms totaling 8,000 acres to start with, probably more coming behind that. Been very deceptive how these solar companies go about selling this by telling us that it will reinvigorate the soil, make it more usable in the future use, and I find that hard to believe when you put that many solar panels full of toxic crap that's going to make the soil better. So we get a group together of our neighbors and we start doing research, and we quickly realize how bad this would be for our county. You have recent text messages being sent to everybody in the county from an energy company called American Energy out of Washington, D.C., telling us how we have to respect landowners' rights or they won't be able to make their land payments. Even though the county has roughly 172 pages of regulations saying what you can and can't do with your land. When a landowner's decision affects all the surrounding landowners in a way that affects them for the rest of their life, when does it become those landowners' rights that are being trampled upon? These solar companies don't give a crap about us. They are here to make money, and lots of it. They claim they want to become part of our community. But by the way, farmers are hands down the best stewards of any land. And if the land is so bad, how are farmers able to grow crops on it every year for hundreds of years? At the planning and zoning and commission meetings, we have seen elected and non-elected officials fight to keep subdivisions out of Linn County because they don't want it near them, and dog rescue places in Parker that they voted down. Those are just two examples that I've been witness to. I have a solution. We can put solar panels on everybody's roof in Linn County and their business. To me, that would solve the problem. And then you won't have lying, manipulative, greedy solar companies, not even from this country, making millions of dollars off of this. Keep Clearway and EDF out of our county.
Hi, my name is Emily Thies. I live in Pleasanton with EDF's project that would surround our home on 3 sides. I've been fortunate to be able to be part of this process over the last year. I was searching the Linn County's website today for our regulations. I could not find them anywhere. I did a wider search and came across the following. This is section 4.08 called Right to Farm. Purpose: it is the declared policy of the county to conserve and protect agricultural land and to encourage agricultural operations within the county. Where non-agricultural land uses, including but not limited to residential development, extend into or adjoin areas of agricultural land. Agricultural operations have become the subject of nuisance complaints. As a result, agricultural operations are sometimes forced to curtail or cease operations, and operators are discouraged from making investment in farm improvements to the detriment of the economic viability of the county's agricultural energy as a whole. It is the purpose and intent of this article to reduce the loss to the county of its agricultural resources by limiting circumstances under which agricultural operations can be considered a nuisance. Now, this was the first article on the Linn County site that popped up. This was from 1997. I do know when, or if it had, I don't know when it has been removed or if it's still in the regulations, but I believe that this is still the sentiment of Linn County. Linn County is known for its rural character, having 2 foreign companies, EDF Energy of France and Clearway, whose parent company is owned by BlackRock, come into our homes and tell us that this is what we are going to do here. The county spoke at the last forum. They do not want this here. So in a last-ditch effort with their deep pockets, and they are working hand in hand with American Energy Action from DC. They're able to get your cell phone numbers with your name and bombard you with very vague texts with fear-mongering. And I'm sure that they will be speaking after us possibly. You will hear from their speakers, possibly hired to come to these events. In the end, these companies are not our friends. They are a company that only purpose is to make them.
Honorable Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Stephanie Ferrero. I'm a Linn County resident from the Pleasanton area. I'm a certified wildlife biologist with the Wildlife Society. Thank you for this opportunity to provide comments on the draft Article 14 revision and all the work invested in designing these essential solar regulations. And I also was kind of, I guess I misinterpreted this evening's meeting because I thought that Article 14 is near completion and we're moving forward. So if you're looking for affirmation as to whether it's like moving in the right direction, 100% yes. My comments that I submitted online are more so related to just some refinements I suggested, especially with wildlife considerations. But I think the big standout thing with Article 14 as it is this revision is that it aligns with the strategic plan of the county, and that is essential. It points out the importance of preserving agricultural and natural areas within our county. So I just had some recommendations as we go along in this process as far as prioritizing disturbed areas, trying to do cluster development with the domestic SECSs, doing vegetation that's also mentioned in the article, but it didn't say native plants and it didn't say like for pollinators, so I would recommend adding that. For fences, that's not mentioned in this article, and I think it's really important when we're thinking about trying to make it more wildlife friendly that we consult some resources for that. So I also included those documents for you all electronically. And then light and sound pollution is another issue that we want to consider as these go in. Finally, the last thing that's come up in a lot of these public meetings is where did the solar panels go when they're dead? We don't want them in our landfills. So let's make sure in this article that that's outlined somewhere. We want to make sure that they're getting recycled or going to hazardous recycling facilities. So I think we also need to incentivize applicants to do the right thing and preserve natural areas. So I look forward to a standardized and transparent process as you all are evaluating applications.
Hello, I'm Mark Briggs. I reside 2 miles south of the Lacine Power Plant with my wife Teal and our 4 kids. I'd like to thank you all for allowing this time to speak tonight. After reviewing Article 14, I noticed that the battery storage system needs to be added to the prohibition. Lance Dirks, Rich Hill, Missouri. Tondo Wardrow, Leawood, Kansas. Janet Carlin, Overland Park, Kansas. Maple Ranch, Leawood, Kansas. William McElwain, Butler, Missouri. Jeff Nelson, Lacine, Kansas. Mike Christie, Olathe, Kansas. Jose Hernandez, Kansas City, Kansas. Linda Thomas, Prairie Village, Kansas. Those are the landowners signed up for solar, and only one of them are a Linn County resident. Your citizens are telling you they do not support this and they do not want this. This is the place we raise our families, the place they go to school, where they attend their sports, the place we all call home. Currently, there are 471 counties in the United States which either solar or wind is nearly impossible or prohibited. 6 counties in the state of Kansas that have a prohibition on commercial solar, and Linn County could be the lucky number 7 with y'all's support. The comprehensive plan survey needs to be updated with the attendance and written responses from the last 2 public forums. Then the Linn County comprehensive plan will support a prohibition on solar just like it did with wind. Tonight, you may hear several testimonies from corporate America, people that are being paid to come and speak, people that are trying to persuade you into believing that this could be a good thing, people that are making a living off of persuading little counties like ours. While they are speaking, I want you all to remember, they are talking about our county, our small towns, our back roads, and our home. That's all I have for you guys, but I have something for everyone standing here that are citizens that want to stand up and fight. Come up and talk. I don't care if you have 3 or 4 words. Come and tell our planning and zoning how you truly feel. Thank you, guys.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Max Day. I live at 414 North 6th Street in Lacine. I stand here in front of y'all aggravated that this is still a discussion after multiple packed house meetings in Mound City and the last packed house meeting here in this auditorium where 214 people signed in for form, 11 proponents, 26 neutral, and 177 opponents. Written testimonies of which were 246 opponents and 10 were proponents. With numbers like that, it would lead one to think, gee, these people absolutely do not want 8,000 acres of foreign party-controlled solar panels in their county. Not only do I not want 8,000 acres of solar panels littering the countryside, I don't want any foreign countries owning or leasing land in Linn County. With that being said, solar companies can stick their solar panels somewhere else. But my question still stands. How much is it going to cost with inflation added to decommission 8,000 acres of solar panels in 10, 20, 30 years when the deal goes sour and the government fundings of these projects run out? Is there going to be government fundings to decommission solar fields? No one knows, but there will still be, but one thing will be for sure is everyone's houses in the countryside and the wildlife refuge and everything will be surrounded by gravel and dirt and nothing. Your cows can't graze, you can't hay that stuff, you can't Nothing. Let's get our act together and ban these companies from stepping foot in our county. The money isn't worth all the risk of foreign countries owning land in Linn County.
Good evening. I'm Patrick Huntley. I live in the Pleasanton area. I'm a business owner here. I live in Linn County. I like Linn County the way it is. That's why I live here and I raise my kids here. Linn County doesn't need industrial anything. It's a place where you raise your kids. We don't even have a stoplight. We want to keep it that way. So the more people that get up and say what they want, the quicker it'll happen. Thank you.
I'm Wayne Harper. I've been here since '90, live over by Beaucourt. Just had a few numbers I thought might be useful. This is from Dave Walsh of Mitsubishi Energy. A 1,000 megawatt continuous duty nuclear power plant would consume about 640 acres. A 1,000 megawatt combined cycle gas steam, and these are 24/7 full-time energy plants. They're producing all the time. A 1,000 megawatt combined cycle gas steam plant would consume about 60 acres. A wind farm a 1,000 megawatt wind farm that would produce 7.7 hours of energy a day would consume about 230,000 acres of land. Solar, let's see what I wrote there. And these require gas backups to keep them running. So they're redundant. They not only have to have all the very expensive wind and solar stuff, but they have to have the generators to back up so they'll keep running. But a 1,000 megawatt solar that would produce about 5 hours of energy a day would take 30,000 acres of land. There's also something called, which I've run across, I really haven't looked at much. It's called an ultra supercritical coal. It's a new, much cleaner coal plant, which I haven't researched that one. And then there's the fact that wind and solar are consume 5 to 8 times more the capital costs, and that your energy rates are going to go up, and up. It's just thought those were some numbers you might be interested in.
You would be a fool if you didn't think what they are offering is a good deal for the county and what it could do for it. I'm raising my family in this county, so I do want what is best. My family and in-laws thought it was a great deal when the contract started coming in. Who wouldn't want to make that much money per acre? Not to have to work, take more vacations, spend more time with your kids that are growing up in front of your eyes. Those are all the things that went through my mind when thinking about the offer on the table. And we did consider it until it got to a point where it really did sound too good to be true. And then my mother-in-law had a lawyer look into it. His words were, there's a bunch of escape routes for the solar companies and none for the landowner. And that is what started the research. The red flags were thrown all over the place. The amount of time that my husband has put into the fight against protecting this county is unreal, along with all the other unelected officials who don't get paid for their time and effort put into this fight. These people are protecting the land in Linn County. These people aren't manipulated by empty promises and money waved in their face. These text messages going around for solar is as manipulative as it gets, trampling on your right to use your land as you see fit. There are 174 pages of regulations made by planning and zoning in Linn County. Banning solar farms is just one more thing to add to that list. These contracts are 30 to 90 years. It's not a trial and error. Our county would be signed away and forever changed as the way we know it today.
Hi, my name's Jerry Boone. I don't have a lot to say, but I will commend you for the decision you made. I think that's the right decision. I'm here to support Mark and anybody else that this thing affects. He said, get up here and talk. I'm making it public right here. I don't want this. I don't want it for Mark. I don't want it for anybody else that it affects. I think that you just need to stay the course with what you've decided. I had something else and now I forgot. So I'm not carrying a briefcase. I'm not a public speaker, but you know, I do. This is what and I think you've looked in the mirror and you've looked in the mirror and you've looked in the mirror and all of you've looked in the mirror. If you can look in the mirror, and I was to ask you if this was in your backyard, if it was in y'all need to drive out and see where Mark lives. I know it's affecting other people. I personally know Mark. I'd rather have a friendship than money any day, okay? Money, you can't take this stuff with you. You can't take it with you. And I'm up here to tell you that. I ask you this, if it was in your backyard and you was to take a lie detector test and I was to ask you, do you want this in your backyard? If you told me yes, you're gonna fail. I guarantee it. And another thing is, I've been reading this book for about 3 years now. And nowhere in there is I've found anywhere that we need solar panels. I don't know, some of you will get that. Some of you will get it on the way home. But in that book, I've never seen it say that we need solar panels to survive. We've been around a long time. That's all I got to say.
Rick James, Lacine. I just want to thank you all for coming out. But I want to tell you that I've been following this as soon as it began. As a commissioner, when we left, we got the wind turbine prohibition put in. And that committee did a great job, and they had a lot of support. But I've never seen a committee come under attack as fierce as these guys. And they fought back. Mark and his whole crew fought back for almost a year. And we've had meetings, we've had everything done. We even brought they brought thousands of signatures in, and it wasn't good enough. So finally, I think we're to a point where we can get rid of this. And I hope we do. I hope it comes to fruition pretty quick. I just came from Bourbon County where I'm speaking on a campaign, but they've got the same issue, and it's worse because they don't have zoning regulations. So thank goodness we had that. And they're looking at 22 to 50,000 acres of solar panels down there. That's a lot of square miles. And also their Pike Reservoir issue. So I want y'all to give Mark and his group a round of applause for all the hard work that they've done. It's been countless hours. Thank you.
Good evening, Mike White, Mound City, Daniel, Job, Ed, Morgan, Charlene, Liz, Paul. You guys have one of the most thankless jobs that you could ever have. And I just want to say thank you for the work that you do. You know, I want to respond to that mass text that came out and talking about you guys as unelected bureaucrats. Well, the energy policy that comes down from DC to the states that's driving this is produced by, guess what, unelected bureaucrats. And so I guess to go forward with this, I just hope you guys stay with the course that you're on with prohibition, because it will in the end be the best for the county. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Sandy Sands, and I'm from Mound City, Kansas. I was not planning on speaking, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the decision that you made. And I want to say that I support that decision. This is a beautiful country. We originally moved here from Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is a beautiful, beautiful country too. The rolling hills of Pennsylvania, the beauty. But Kansas, the people are wonderful out here. We just love it. And sorry, I'm a crier. But I want to thank you. And I want to say, keep up the good work. Make the right decisions. Make the right decisions for the people out here, for the community, for the children in the future. To think that this country would be taken over by trash, it's a shame to even think that would happen. And I just pray that you will continue to fight to keep our country beautiful.
I'm Tammy Eastwood. I've lived in Linn County for 24 years. I live over between Centerville and Blue Mound. And I want to thank you for the decision that you've made. And I want to say God has given us this beautiful county and we're all stewards of it. Don't let the devil in the door. Don't let the devil in the door.
Is this the totality of who votes on this? This group right here, is there more? My point is that the will of the people has been clear, and what I'd like to know is, with all the corruption in this world, in backroom deals, the problem with representative government is they should wear like NASCAR suits, you know, so you can see all their sponsors, all the backdoor deals that are actually made. For anyone that votes against the will of the people, they should be looked into and who's lying in their pockets and make sure they never get voted on another seat or office in this county or anywhere else. And we'll make Kansas great again and keep Linn County great. Thank you. Just to be clear, you are in the proponent of the change. Okay, thank you. We lost the mic. No, you don't, it's okay.
On Yancey Road, just south of the Linn Dam. I am directly across a gravel road from the two big property owners in that neighborhood. And I would just like to thank the commission, Mark, and all the people that took my rights as a landowner and put them in front of big corporate money and looked at the bigger picture versus the economic quote-unquote driver of this. And I would just like to thank all those who put the time and effort into this document and represented me and my thoughts. Thank you.
Good evening. James Kerr, lifelong Linn County resident. I just want to take my few minutes really to thank Mark, Emily, and Allie. I know the discussion's going on about a big solar farm right over here next to the power plant, but there's also a subsequent smaller commercial solar proposed in the county of about 9.9 acres. I just hope that you guys take this total ban to a total ban for everybody in the county commercial, because these people stood behind me when I stood behind them on their side of the county. I'm not from that side of the county. I'm from the other side of the county. I would just like that the band is totally across the whole deal and really thank them for their work, and thank you guys for letting us speak and your efforts in this.
My name's Charlie Thomas. I have lived in Linn County my entire life, along with everybody up here. And I can't see how this is going to benefit anyone except some out-of-country, out-of-town people that have nothing to do with Linn County. We had a hiccup last week in the airports. Everybody heard. People spent the night in an airport over a stroke of a keyboard. You let China plug into our electrical grid, and the stroke of the keyboard is going to turn into everything in your refrigerator going bad in about 4 or 5 days. Your freezers are out. The fun's over. We cannot let these people take over our county. Not along with all the stuff that's going to go wrong up there. It's going to be a nightmare. Spent my whole life on job sites. It's not a pretty place. And I just wanted to thank you all for letting us speak tonight. And anybody from Linn County shouldn't be allowed up here to talk tonight either. This is for us. So the next people up here that are for this, take it with a grain of salt, because they're trying to get their paycheck on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. I hadn't planned on coming up here and talking tonight. But after hearing everything, I wanted to say a few words. My husband and I came down here about 6 years ago to retire. And after hearing everything, what this is going to do is it's going to bottom out everybody's property value and home value in this entire county. And if anybody cares at all about their home values and their farm values, they should get up here and talk, because anything that you own in this county is going to bottom completely out, and you'll never be able to sell your farms that you've put everything into, the homes that you love and care about. You will never get a penny out of anything you own. And you have got to help us with this and consider everything that we love and value down here. And the thing that you could ever put any money into and get the most value for is farm and land. That is the thing that people know that you can get the most value for your money. And these people have sweat and worked their whole lives for their farms. And to think that they did that their whole lives and this could happen to them, it's just beyond my comprehension. And so we're just begging you for your help and your consideration. Thank you.
Right. If there's no one else, I want to go ahead and transition to the opponents of the regulations change. And just as a reminder, you each have 2 minutes. And please state your name and where you're from. And we will continue until we're done.
Mr. Commissioner, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, David Christie. I reside at 4335 403rd Road. It's my second home in Miami County. I'm here to talk about change. And I've been developing real estate in 25 states over the last 40 years. And change is hard. And the problem we've got here is that we need to understand that Evergy, who's paying and buying all these carbon credits, those carbon credit payments that they're making to the government are on your utility bill. So your rates are going to go up if this is not if they get penalized, it's mandated by the federal government to have green energy. So it's unfortunate that this situation has got out of hand. I don't know who these people are, Clearway. All I know is they contacted me up in Miami County to come from the north so they can hook into the power plant. So your community is in play. It's a good area, but your rates are going to go up because Evergy is paying a lot of money for carbon credits. If the rural area, if a facility is so bad, why is the Kansas City Airport Commission putting, a solar panel facility at the end of the runway? Why does Indianapolis completely funded and paying their power with solar panels? So I just think we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Having done developments from St. Croix and the Virgin Islands to Rock Springs.
Good evening. My name is Leif Clark. I'm a community engagement manager for EDF Renewables and Garnett Solar. I grew up in a family of 8 in an agricultural community that's a lot like this one. And I know personally how scary it can feel when change comes to town and the place that you call home starts looking a little bit different. It's natural for there to be confusion and concern with something new, especially when there are several individuals who have made it their mission to spread a false narrative based on outdated information and bluntly outright lies in some cases. Here's a fact that I do think it'll be easier for everybody in the room to agree on, and that's that the local schools here, the roads, the emergency services provided by the county and the school districts, those are critical components to this community, and it's part of what makes Linn County a great place to live. Here's another fact. Nobody wants to pay more taxes. There's no doubt that the Evergy power plant in Lacine has been the economic cornerstone to the economy here. And a recent Linn County Journal article had broken out some of the entities that rely on that plant for their revenues. So the county directly gets about $6.4 million a year. Prairie View USD gets about $6.9 million. The Linn County Library District, number 2, gets over $450,000. And rural fire gets almost $250,000. $14 million a year is a lot of money to make up in residential property taxes when you've got less than 5,000 households in the county. Evergy's been clear about their plans for retiring the power plant. You can look it up in their integrated resource plan filed with the Kansas Corporation Commission earlier this year. And so I think the county desperately needs the money and should really consider finding some solutions to these issues. If it's not solar.
Good evening. Thank you to everyone on this stage for your tireless efforts on this matter. My name is Madison Gray. I'm a senior project developer at EDF Renewables. I'm also the developer for the Garnett Solar Project based here in Linn County, Kansas. I'm from Texas, originally, still based there. And I'd like to use my 2 minutes to discuss some misinformation that has been floating around about solar technology to try to dispel some of the fear that's in this room. So there have been claims that materials can leach out from solar panels and pose a threat to the surrounding environment. All photovoltaic materials are encased in tempered glass and other non-porous materials to contain materials in the event of panel breakage. EDF Renewables has entered into agreement with a partner to recycle any solar panels that do become damaged from any natural events. Using land for solar also allows the ground to rest from pesticides and fertilizers utilized in agriculture and can reduce harmful runoff. Another claim has been that solar development is inherently harmful to biodiversity. When applying best practices for project design, such as incorporating pollinator habitat and minimizing solar disturbance, as suggested by many of the folks in this room tonight, large-scale solar farms on previously developed land can actually sustain local biodiversity. Negative impacts can be further mitigated by creating wildlife corridors and habitat patches inside the footprint of the facility. as contemplated in EDF's project design. It is my opinion that banning commercial solar outright before the consideration of any permit applications would not only take economic opportunities away from the county in the future and from landowners who signed solar leases, but I also believe that it sends a clear message to other businesses and industries that Linn County is not open to other economic development. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Josh Framel with Clearway Energy. It's great to see everyone again, and I appreciate all the work you guys and education have been putting into this. And wanted to come in and basically just continue to share our desire to work with you all, to work with the county, and have an opportunity to present a specific project to be able to be evaluated on its individual merits. To this date, we've tried to do our best to provide counterpoints to some of the information and questions that have been raised during meetings, conversations we've had with local residents inside and outside of meetings. But to date, everything so far has been pretty hypothetical. We would really like the opportunity to put something tangible in front of the Planning Commission so you guys can do your job. You guys wrote, and created a set of solar regulations designed to protect the county, to address a lot of the concerns that I've heard here tonight. And that's not all there is to it. As this process would go through itself again, additional time for questions, additional time to put the onus, it was a phrase that was used a lot when you were writing the regulations, you put the onus on the applicant to demonstrate how those concerns are being addressed. And so far, we haven't really been able to do that besides, again, addressing things at a very high level. So I think that closing the door on a potential investment in the county, we want to be a new business. We want to add to the economic development, not just for our property owners, but for the county as a whole, and welcome an opportunity, hopefully in the future, for us to put that in front of you and really have detailed discussions on designs and make changes, and conditions can be added, and work through a process, not just closing the door entirely. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name's Chris Hurst. I'm an independent contractor. So I was asked to come here and talk to you guys a little bit about the flip side of this coin, okay? So I understand that everybody here is probably opposed to what we're doing. I get that, I understand it, okay? No one is going to force you to do anything that you don't want to do with your property, okay? All right, so that's number one. But the flip side of that coin is also that I don't think that this governing body and some of the other people in this room should be able to tell their neighbors or their friends that they don't have a right to capitalize on an opportunity, okay? I don't like hog farms or chicken houses or any of that stuff. Don't necessarily want those next to my house. I do not tell my neighbor he can't participate in that culture, okay? It's just not the right thing to do, all right? Now, there's a lot of misinformation and stuff out here about what it can do and what it can't do. I've worked in a lot of different industries when it comes to the oil and gas, wind and solar. I've done a lot of it, all right? Energy is gonna be needed, whether we like it or not, okay? There's no way to stop that from happening, okay? Now, there's a lot of ways that we can responsibly do these things. And as Josh was mentioning, there's ways to address concerns and issues that come up, all right? That's all stuff that can be worked out and make sure, hold the companies accountable. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? However, it's also not right. I can't tell you how many times I've sat across the table from someone and talking with them, and we come on just at the right time to help them save their farm from going into bankruptcy, for them losing for generations to come what they've already had in their family for hundreds of years, okay? These are opportunities. Nobody tells you what you can or can't plant on your property. Shouldn't be allowed to tell you what you
Good evening. My name is Barry Match, and I'm with Clearway Energy. First, I want to thank everybody on the committee again for your service. It's difficult. It's difficult, and appreciate your public service. I want to take a moment and clarify who Clearway Energy is. We favor energy dominance for the United States, and the only way to do that is through an all-the-above energy policy. That I'm quite certain everyone in the room agrees with. That's what our whole business model is founded on. We have gas, we have solar, we have wind, we have storage. I don't appreciate comments about how Clearway approaches energy production for all of us. I do want to say to the committee, you all have seen us 15 separate times in the last 15 months. The committee started working on the solar regulations that exist today on April of 2023. You passed them in June. And in the passage of that, you actually expressly rejected proposed language to prohibit solar. This very committee did 1 year ago right now. The county board unanimously passed the ordinance in July of 2023. And then since that time, as you guys know, an ad hoc committee was created. Mark, Allie, Emily served quite honorably. I really respect them. Their job as opponents was to try to push the ordinance forward. And I think you guys would agree. We agreed with about 90% of what you said. And we now find ourselves in a position of just saying, let's scrap all that. Let's reduce the county's ability to actually regulate businesses, and let's ban an entire category. We have a good process in place in this county. We have a good ordinance in place, and we would urge you to preserve the ordinance. And if at a later date somebody applies with the solar project, judge it on its merits. Thank you very much. Where do I live, or where am I from? I live in Chicago.
Hi, folks. I see the clock's running. My name is Henry Chamberlain. I live in Bonner Springs, Kansas. My family owns land immediately south of the existing power plant, right at the hub of the existing distribution system. There's no way that the industry in the state is going to abandon the distribution network or change the hub of it, because in the 50 years that it's existed, there's been so much more development that would just be prohibitive. But the very purpose, as you well know, of planning committees and planning and zoning commissions is to review projects on their individual merits and their compliance with reasonable regulations. And that's what we've all proposed. The developers in this instance have agreed to every reasonable and some otherwise restriction, setbacks, screening with trees and shrubs that will hide from the road and passersby any solar panels. Not that I don't think they're beautiful, but at some point, I know it's easy for people to get excited when they're given a lot of misinformation, but at some point, truth matters, and what we do has to be fact-based and true. We've heard that reclamation of the land when the leases expire or they're not in, the panels aren't in use anymore, is going to be a tax burden. No, it's not. You folks already know that there are bonds already issued to those landowners.
Yes, a light opponent, that is. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma. My name is Ryan Duffield. I'm seventh generation Crawford County and Bourbon County And I don't have an interest here in Linn County per se, but I do have an interest in solar. I got 10 years in oil and gas. I spent 10 years in the Marcellus, Utica Play, in Pennsylvania, Ohio, West Virginia. Sacrificed my 20s doing that. I have 3.5 years in solar, community scale and utility scale. We really need all the above. I got 2 brothers in the Navy. I believe in what I'm doing. I don't want to see my 4-month-old child go to war one day over energy. You guys don't want to see your families involved in energy wars either. You know, the Lacine Power Plant, per the Sierra Club and Environmental Group, put pressure on the Kansas Corporation Commission, and in turn, they put pressure on Evergy to decommission those, or the coal plant. That'll be decommissioned in 2029 and 2024 and 30. No, I'm sorry. It's changed 32 and 39. So they're going to have to replace 1.7 gigawatts of power. That's why these companies are trying to lease with you guys and try to figure out a way to keep that plant running on their existing infrastructure. All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We all had a chance. We had our 2 minutes. I appreciate you respecting that. We're not in a hurry. So are there any more opponents to the regulation change that would like to speak with me? Are there any questions from planning and zoning for any of the prior speakers that we would like to address? Oh, we can. So is there anyone who is basically neutral on the issue, but feels like they have something that they would like to say? Somebody face West Planning and Zoning folks. We are going to limit you to 2 minutes here. So we are going to limit you to 2 minutes. No, it doesn't count a walk. You have a reputation.
Well, I walked a little back.
Right.
You know, this is all very interesting. I don't understand. I don't want to see it. Most of us are REA customers. This affects us, affects our bills. REA is putting in a solar farm, or was planning to, which would cut the peak load, which would save you money. You own that field because it's a co-op. You own the field, you own the transformers, you own the poles, you own the wire, and I think that they would be more in tune to sue you, because it's no more than me owning a tractor and a corn planter and a combine, and you're telling me I can't do it on my own property. So I've got 3 solar contracts. I didn't respond to any of them. Some of them pay $700 an acre a year. One's for 200 acres. Do the math. I don't have to do the math for you. Okay? I didn't respond. I'm just a cow-calf guy. I love doing a cow-calf business. But I'm 84 years old. I don't know how much longer I can get there, how much longer I can continue to do it. And I bought this land as an investment when you all were taking your vacations and going to Hawaii and all that bull. I'm firming. I'm working. You know, I'm rat hole my money to put a down payment on another little piece of ground. And I came to Linn County in '85, just a shirt on my back. I've got 800 acres now, and I run 400 cows, and I can't do that much longer. You can see me walking down there, neuropathy's getting me and things. But long story short, I like to use my land.
Okay, as they say in the bar business, last call. Just if anybody's just got something burning in their soul that they feel like they need to say and they were afraid to say it earlier, I don't want to be in a hurry. This is our public hearing to hear from you. So I will give just a couple seconds for somebody to respond, and then we're going to call it a night. Please state your name and where you're from.
Rod Ernest from Pleasant, Kansas. Family's been here since 1860. Still here. Still planning on staying here. The new Green Deal, folks, they can play it however they want to play it, but we need dependable energy. I will agree with that. And all they got to do is build some gas turbines right over there where them plants are at. Those gas turbines could possibly use on them generators, and that will be dependable. 24 hours a day. You push a button, fires up and runs. If you don't need electricity, you push a button and they go off. Solar, like I say, about 20%. It's not dependable. Windmills are not dependable. And we need to take our monies that's getting spent and spend them on dependable energy in this country. It's pretty simple. Thank you.
I know I already spoke, but I was told by somebody back there that I could take their time, so anyway. We're in an election year, and that's one thing we should think about. There could be a lot of changes that could take place in November. The push for green energy could change. I think if anything, we should wait till the election year is over before you'd even think about doing anything that would be solar, because plus solar panels are changing. They could get smaller. They could be that it takes up a lot less land as the technology changes. If we take all of our land here and put it into solar panels, I just think that's just the wrong thing to do. I think you need to really pray about it and think about what is best for God's world, this beautiful world that God has given us. And I really commend you on your decision, but to keep going with that decision, push it. We heard these people speak from different states. They don't have an invested interest in this county. All they do is they work and they get a paycheck and they're pushing because they are hired by those companies. And a company from France? That's so sad that we are going to be giving our land over to another country, any other country. This is the United States of America, and we need to have our country pride in our land. Please, 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 I beg you to really push through the decision that you guys made.
Good evening. Tim Stitt, I'm from Linn Valley. My family's been here since the Civil War. Just a few things. Sorry, voice is trembling a little bit. I was a little disappointed by by the solar company. Actually, the company I work for, we make money off solar companies. Solar panels are probably not the answer to everything, but the way they presented themselves today, they said we were scared of change. They kind of belittled us a little bit. I'm sorry, guys, but I was a little taken back by the way you addressed us. I think there's certain things you guys said that we're scared of change because you talk to us like we're kids, that we're protected from dangerous chemicals. I think she said by glass. Doesn't seem like a very good protector to me from dangerous chemicals. Another gentleman said that that he didn't agree with the carbon tax. No, none of us agree with that. I think the majority of us here in Kansas realize that that's all political BS and doesn't really work. He's also mentioned, one other person mentioned that all the cleanup could be covered or is covered by government bonds. It's not covered by government bonds, it's covered by our money. All the government initiative is our money and should be treated like our money, not their money. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Any final questions from anyone on the board? Okay, I just want to express my gratitude for everyone and the time involved in coming out and spending your evening here and taking part of this public hearing. I am going to call this meeting adjourned, and as I told you earlier, we will pick up this topic again at our regular meeting in August. So thank you all again.